That's a really good question, Confucius. So Confucius just asked me this question. How do you go from victim to empowered empath INFJ, basically to an empowered abuse trauma survivor of a narcissist? I'm going to break it down. There's basically one fundamental step that needs to happen. But before I share that, let's kind of break down and analyze the cliche, the typical behaviors of the narcissist. If you've experienced the narcissist, let me know if you align with these. If you haven't experienced a narcissist, a full-blown narcissist, some of these things are going to sound like, well, what's the big deal? But I'm going to kind of break it down so that if you have gone along this journey, you're going to realize that you were not insane. The journey begins with love bombing. I'm sure you've heard the term love bombing. Just because somebody love bombs you does not mean they're a narcissist, but guaranteed the narcissist will do this. It's when they shower you with love and affection and gifts and attention, and they validate your existence. They make you feel like you are twin flames, soulmates, born, destined to be together. And really, here's what they do. Through their love bombing, they make you fall in love with yourself. Think about that. Through the love bombing phase, because they make you feel so good, you fall in love with yourself, thinking you're falling in love with them. Really, on a subconscious level, what you're falling in love with is yourself because of how you feel with their attention, their validation of your worth, of your existence, because that's what the love bombing is. They elevate you. They give you such a level of validation. You are amazing. And that feels so good. Right? So you've gone through the love bombing phase. And in between the love bombing phase and this next phase, which is the discard, a lot of things will happen. And I'm going to go down my list of top 10 things that I've sort of researched. Actually, not just top 10 things, just the most common traits. So in between the love bombing and the discard phase, you're obviously going to experience gaslighting. Now, again, gaslighting is somebody challenging a reality. Big deal. We do it all the time in every single relationship. Somebody will play devil's advocate and challenge your reality because they want to be right. No crime there. Common human behavior. But what makes it so different when it's from a narcissist? This is what makes it different. First of all, it's the intention behind it. Their sole intention is not to necessarily be right. It's to crush you. They know that they are trying to suck your soul dry of its identity, of its self-worth. So they've put down your guard with the love bombing, and now the gaslighting begins. And it's by very careful, very strategic design. And what makes it really hard to combat is that it is, what's the word I'm looking for? It is non-stop. It is a relentless attack on your reality to the point where now every single thing that is said, every little thing that happens, every thought that you have, every conclusion you come to, there will be this big, massive question mark, and you go insane. And unless you've been through it, it's hard to explain to somebody, well, how does somebody fool you into believing the most absurd things? Because they're really good at what they do. They've been practicing an entire lifetime. And so the gaslighting is ongoing, relentless, over extended period of times. However long it takes them to break you down, that's what they will invest. Not to mention, they have an army of what's called flying monkeys. Raise your hands if you've experienced those flying monkeys. And those flying monkeys will reaffirm, will back up, will validate their stories, their perceptions, their lies, their deceit, adding further doubt to your reality, and you literally just go insane. So that's the gaslighting. Then there's emotional exploitation, blame shifting, idealization. Then before we get to the devaluation, and some of these sort of start to overlap. As they start to devaluate you, they've isolated you. And the isolation comes through the flying monkeys and the smear campaign. They've been pretty much from day one. They've chosen you as a victim. Oh, that's my type of person. This person has value. They're a shining light. They're charming. They have friends. They have status. All the things that they secretly lack, they see in you and they want it from you. And so pretty much from day one, they go out there and they start sending out gossip and rumors to disqualify your good character. And you have no clue this is going on, so you are oblivious. The only time you start to realize what's happened is when it is too late. Their claws are into your soul. Their friends have completely undermined, tainted your reputation. People now look at you differently. You find that people are interacting with you differently. You've lost credibility. Maybe you've lost a career. You've potentially lost your career due to this narcissist. Before I go any deeper, welcome. I forgot. Welcome to the Sigma Empath podcast. This is the Rant edition, where my objective is to just simply talk about a relevant topic that's going to bring you value, that's going to help you along your empowerment journey, and that benefits the community. Again, one of the recurring themes is along my journey of recovery, I thought I was the only one. And in knowing that there were others who had experienced the same thing was a boost. And so this is the value that it brings. It lets people know you're not the only one. You are not insane. All right. So there's the devaluation, there's the smear campaign, you lose your identity, and then other things, they're going to start isolating you. And a part of the isolation is because of the smear campaign. All your friends are distancing themselves from you. You go into your little dark closet for protection because you feel horrible about yourself. You no longer want to socialize. You hate yourself. Self-loathing has crept into your psyche. Then there's the false accusations. They will flip the narrative. If they've lied and cheated on you, they will make you feel guilty for accusing them. Then they will start saying, you know what they say? It's the cheat who accuses their partner of cheating. You're the cheat. You're the liar. Which adds to the gaslighting. Lack of empathy. This is one topic. I don't believe they lack empathy. That's for another video. Then there's the sense of entitlement. They just simply think that they deserve to have everything put on a silver platter. You are an object. You are a servant. You are there to serve them. You are there to be there for them. And another thing that they do, and I'm not really sure in what category to place this, is they sabotage. Any moment of celebration or any moment of success you might have, they will sabotage it. And I've not really shared any of my personal anecdotes about my horrific narcissistic experience, but I will give you just one story, and I won't mention her name because she's not here to defend herself, and it wouldn't be fair. I'm a keynote speaker, and I deliver keynotes to corporations, very large audiences, and I invited her to come and see one of my keynotes. And the whole time, triangulation is another thing they will do. They will always be somebody in the picture to reinforce that, make you feel insecure, to kind of reinforce that, hey, I've got other options. Triangulation, there's always somebody else in the picture. For her, it was the ex-husband. He was always around, always texting, always sending pictures. They would always go back and forth, secretly meet. He was always in the picture. And so I invite her to come and see one of my keynotes, and I'm going to brag. I got a standing ovation. And I'm thinking, oh, great, I'm really proud. I had this moment. I worked hard for this, and my girlfriend is going to congratulate me and elevate me and give me some props and make me feel good about myself. And just maybe for a minute, it might be about me. Can we just make it about me for a minute? Because it's always about you. Let me know if that happened to you. It's always, always, always about them. But anyway, this was my moment of shining. And rather than congratulate me, the first thing she said as I got off stage, chit-chatted with audience members, and we were walking down the hallway, and the first thing she said is, I'm not going to mention his name, my ex's sister just had an accident, so my phone's going to blow up, so forgive me if I'm on the phone and can't give you attention. Ouch. Wow, couldn't believe it. But this was a repeated pattern. Let me know if this happened to you. They sabotaged your moment of glory. Whether it's a birthday, whether you're going out somewhere, they will mess it up some way, somehow. So there's that. They are filled with arrogance and grandiosity. What else did I find? And by the way, if I'm missing anything, please put it in the comments. Constantly seeking validation. They constantly seek validation. And the problem is, you unto yourself, no matter how much you praise them, no matter how much you elevate them, which, by the way, you shouldn't be elevating somebody to this extent. But let's say you do. It will never be enough because they need constant validation. They have one dark, deep, empty black hole of nothingness other than evil, and they just need validation constantly. So they are going to put themselves in positions of constantly getting validation. They will always be in the limelight, in the spotlight, socializing, always getting attention, which kind of makes you feel like you're just simply not good enough. And the reality is, for them, you're not. You never will be good enough for them. Remember that. It's only not good enough for them. They have fantasies of greatness. They truly think that they are the most amazing thing, that they are the shit. They think they are the shit when really they are shit. They must be admired, controlling, very controlling, always blaming. And the control can be very indirect. Passive aggressiveness. If that's a way of controlling you, they will make you feel guilty. They will either be dominating, bully you into submission so that they have control, or they will play the victim. In particular, when you call them out on something, they will play the victim if they haven't, of course, deflected and diverted and made it look like you're the one who's being the bad person. They cannot have any level of accountability, filled with jealousy and envy, and just in general grandiosity. So you've gone through all of that. You are a victim. How do you get out of that? First of all, you allow yourself to grieve. You allow yourself to grieve because, wow, what the hell just happened to my life? Who am I? I don't recognize myself anymore. I'm a skeleton of who I used to be. So grieve. You're going to grieve three things. You're going to grieve losing the person you thought they were because that person never existed. You're going to lose the person who they truly are. Even though they devoured your soul, you fell in love with the facade, the mask. And even though you fell in love with the mask, you actually still fell in love with their darkness. It's like, oh, what's that syndrome where you fall in love with your kidnappers? Stockholm syndrome. There's a level of Stockholm syndrome. They've abused you, and you fall in love with their torturous, dark, horrible, because you constantly seek their validation. So you lose the person you thought they were, you lose the person that they actually are, and you lost yourself. You lose three things. You're grieving three things, right? So here's where the big thing needs to happen for you to become empowered. And there's a delicate nuance with what I'm going to share. You want to go from victimhood, and this is a horrible word to add, but there's a level that while you're in victimhood and you've lost your senses, you've lost your sanity, you've lost your self-dignity, your self-respect, your behaviors due to the addiction, there's addiction, due to the addiction to this person, you actually now start to enable them. Because you want to validate through the gaslighting, you start to question, you doubt, well, maybe it was me. Maybe I was overly sensitive. Maybe they didn't really cheat on me. Maybe I'm exaggerating. And you forgive them. And you give them another chance, and another chance, and another chance. And so now there's a delicate line between I am the victim and I am enabling. This is heavy. This is heavy because I'm not accusing anybody of being an enabler. You are enabling purely by default of your abuse and circumstance. You are not an enabler. You are enabling through lack of awareness. through having lost your soul, lost your mind. I've done lost my mind. So you've got to, how do you stop that level of enabling? Again, you've got to grieve, get angry, grieve, cry, let it out, hate them, want to get revenge. All those things are going to happen and they're healthy. So you want to stop the enabling by setting, now you've got to start setting the boundaries. I'm going to stop forgiving you. I'm going to stop doubting myself. I'm going to set the boundary. And of course, the ultimate boundary is you walk away and you go no contact. So you want to go from victim, you want to stop being an enabler. And the way you stop being an enabler is, and this is the crucial step that's really hard to do, you go from being the victim and an enabler to now holding yourself accountable. But I need to qualify that statement. Holding yourself accountable does not mean you beat yourself up and you insult yourself and you degrade yourself, undermine yourself, belittle yourself in the very same ways that a narcissist already did. Don't call yourself stupid. Don't call yourself ignorant. Don't tell yourself, what was I thinking? Don't beat yourself up. Do not beat yourself up. But you've got to take accountability. And what does that mean? What does it look like? What does it sound like? It means that I was there. I was present. Even though I was incapacitated, intellectually, spiritually, incapacitated, I was still there. And I allowed it to happen because at that time, I wasn't empowered. At that time, I didn't have the resources, the courage, the strength, the wherewithal. That's why I enabled it. Because at that moment, I wasn't the person who I am today and the person who I am becoming. So this person that I want to become must become accountable for the person you used to be. It doesn't mean it was your fault. This is really, really important. Being accountable doesn't mean it was your fault. It just means you understand that you were there and you can't change them. So what can you change? You can only change you. That's what accountability does. It's the realization that I was there, I allowed it to happen. That old version of me, I'm going to bury, and I'm going to become this new version of me because I'm accountable, I'm responsible, I'm taking responsibility and ownership for the part that I played. I'm moving forward, I'm reaching higher, I'm moving on up. I'm going to become empowered by being accountable. That is the basic journey of what it feels like to be with a narcissist, how you get out of it. It is highly intellectual, also emotional. You've got to strategically make these decisions. Accountability is so hard. And I'm going to say it one last time. You want to be accountable without blaming yourself. It's hard. There's a nuance, but a very clear, powerful nuance. Be accountable, don't blame and beat yourself up. Everybody, I really appreciate you joining me for this rant edition. I hope that this brings you value. And once again, my call to action is 1, have empathy for you along your journey of empowerment. 2, if you relate to some of these experiences, to them, some of these stories, please drop your comments, share your story in the feed, in the comment section. Let other people know that they are not crazy, that there are other people who went through the same thing that they did. This unto itself is huge, huge empowerment. That was a really, really good question, Confucius. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.